in our solar system. Just like a planet orbits around the Sun, moons orbit around their respective planets. In the case of Venus, 2 moons have been discovered by Rodney McTagg. These 2 moons are influenced by the gravitational pull of Venus and the charged particles in the solar wind. When we look at the structure of an atom, we see that there are subatomic particles like protons and electrons that revolve around a central nucleus. This analogy helps us understand the orbital dynamics of moons around Venus. Just as protons and electrons orbit around the atomic nucleus, the moons around Venus as the central point. The gravitational force between Venus and its moons keeps them in their respective orbits, similar to how the force of attraction between protons and electrons keeps them in orbit around the atomic nucleus. The electromagnetic field of Venus is induced by solar forcing, the charged solar wind coming from the Sun. This solar wind carries electrical and magnetic energy. As Venus moves around the Sun, it encounters this solar wind, and the electromagnetic field will change its properties depending on how much energy from our Sun it contacts. When the induced electromagnetic field interacts with the 2 moons, it affects their orbits by changing their velocity. They are very close to Venus, relatively speaking. The 2 moons rotate inside Venus, the electromagnetic field of extreme velocities, creating an unstable plasma sausage. Now, let's dive deeper into the explanation of the orbital dynamics of the 2 moons around Venus. The 2 moons around Venus are governed by the principles of gravity and centripetal force. Gravity is the force that attracts objects towards each other. In this case, Venus and distance from the moons determine the strength of the force field. How close they come to the planet at their closest point, known as pericenter. The moons orbit around Venus almost the speed of light sometimes. The speed at which the moons travel in their orbits is determined by their distance from Venus. According to Kepler's laws of planetary motion, as a moon gets closer to the planet, its speed increases, and as it moves farther away, its speed decreases. This is because the gravitational force weakens with distance. Additionally, the moon's motions are affected by other factors, such as perturbations caused by other celestial bodies in the solar system. These gravitational interactions can slightly alter the moon's orbits over periods of time. To summarize, the orbital dynamics of the 2 moons around Venus are influenced by gravity, which keeps them in their orbits. The speed at which the moons travel is determined by their distance from Venus, which is extremely close, and travel at some percentage the speed of light.